sending you beautiful nature vibes on this beautiful new moon energy. I don't know about you, but I feel like I've come out of the darkness and into the light. The past few weeks have been trigger after trigger after trigger, and I spiraled deep and dark and down into the shadow. And I felt like I was the darkest I had felt in years, about 19 years, if ever, and really received the gift in that too. The day before, the day during, and the day after the new moon can be one of the darkest times for us. As the light dims, we are more in tune with our shadow, and this is a beautiful opportunity to really feel into, are we serving ourselves and humanity? Are we doing what's best for us? Are we living our greatest trajectory of life? Are we living our highest timeline? If that's what you want. And if it's not, then that's all good too, because it's your choice. So when the moon goes dark, it is a representation of our shadow self, and it is an opportunity to connect with our limitations and to refocus on what we can improve in our lives so that we can move forward with more grace and ease. To really make the most of life, we need to have an honest review with ourselves. And right now, with Mercury retrograde, that just went retrograde recently, is the perfect time to resolve communication issues, to rest, rejuvenate, reflect, make the most of the bonus time that we're receiving. If you're in a lockdown, you can still go out to your backyard and connect with nature. Connect with nature in any way that you can. We can connect with nature in so many ways, by putting flowers in our house, by sitting on the earth or being barefoot on the earth, or sitting and just observing a tree and feeling our connection with that and the energy, just feeling it right now, the energy that flows between us and nature. The more we breathe, the more we receive, and the more it enlivens and enlightens our being. The more that we do that for ourselves, the more that we take care of ourselves, the better we feel and the longer we feel greater for. And then we go out in the world and our cup is overflowing with love and light and radiance, and this light touches the heart of every being that we cross paths with, whether it's through an eye gaze, through a hug, through words that we need to hear at that moment that we need to hear them. Life is chaotic and turbulent, and there is so much going on in the world, and it's great to acknowledge that. It really is. We need to acknowledge that. However, if we spend our entire day thinking about the doom of the earth and how nothing is going right and being in that victim headspace, that victim consciousness, are we actually doing anything of value for ourselves and each other? Where our energy goes, where our attention goes, energy flows. Keep that in mind next time you start hearing a friend gossip about something that they went through and are putting other people down, or be mindful of how you feel. How does your body react to things? Our body is constantly sending us signals, and we're constantly receiving a whole I'm seeing a vision in my head of golden cords and like a golden web of information. We're constantly receiving information every day, and we're so overloaded, and most of us, if not all of us, are actually really highly sensitive people, but we are dulled down by food, by alcohol, by making life choices that aren't necessarily great or good for us. That reminds me, I've been doing a lot of Qigong lately, and oh yes, I'm definitely going to do that at this beautiful lookout. There's a guy who I watch on YouTube, and a friend of mine, well actually we were dating at the time, he introduced me to it, and I really love it because this guy, he not only does the flow of the Qigong movements in front of you, but he also tells you what each part does. So for example, when you're tapping, so you're tapping on your chest and then you go down your arms, I think it's inside first and then outside. When you come up here and you're tapping here, that is a move that helps you make better decisions in life. Isn't that awesome? So just by tuning into our body, we can release that stagnant energy, and our energy can flow more, which makes everything else flow in our lives around us even better. Isn't that wonderful? So we actually are magicians and healers and psychic. We're all psychic. We all have the same abilities. It's just the difference is how much each person dedicates time and energy and resources and focus toward each of these things. Everybody has different degrees of things in life, but ultimately we're all on the same planet. We've all come here for uplifting humanity, and we each have come here to express our own souls in whatever way that feels true and right in that moment. And maybe later on down the track we might be like, oh yeah, if I had that choice again, maybe I wouldn't make it. And there's definitely a few of those I can think of right now. So we have an opportunity in each moment, in each breath, to reset and realign and recalibrate and be like, is this serving me still? Maybe it served me in the past, and I can see how these decisions led to this, and this person came into my life and they shared this, and that wouldn't have happened without that, the whole butterfly effect. However, right now, does this still serve me? Is this still what's best for me? And is it helping others? When we increase our light and our awareness, we also assist others in reminding them of who they are too. And when we're doing what's right and what feels best, and we're honoring our beliefs, our values, our boundaries, then the others are reminded of that too. Share a little story with you. So there was a time in my life where I was really starting to put a lot of boundaries in place because I hadn't had healthy boundaries very much, and I didn't really know what they looked like. And I remember one day Dad said to me, you know how you've been putting up boundaries and, lately? I said, yeah. He said, you've inspired me to put up boundaries too. And I said, okay, what is your boundary? He said, I don't want to be hugged anymore. That was rough. That was so rough, because while I respected where he was coming from with that, to the best of my ability at the time and each time I saw him, I was really upset because physical touch with my closest loved ones is how I feel, one of the ways I feel that I receive love from them the most. And that varies on the person and the connection and how close we are. So when Dad said that, that was heartbreaking for me, and it was definitely a few years before he passed last year that couldn't really hug him. And when he did pass, I was so glad that I didn't listen to his rules, his boundaries the entire time, because I snuck hugs here and there. And at the time I felt bad, and he was upset about it. But in retrospect, I'm really glad that I did, because those moments are so priceless and so precious. And then when he was in a coma in hospital, I hugged him every fucking time I saw him. And for ages. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make up for all those hugs that I did not get, because our bodies, we only live in them once. And he wasn't going to be in his body anymore. And while I love the connection, the relationship that we have now, thankfully, because I have developed my mediumship abilities so much in 19 years, I still get to feel close to him. But it's so hard because he's still not physically here, and I can't hug him. However, in saying that, I have hugged him in my dream a few times. There's this beautiful dimension that we can go to in our dreams when we have lost a loved one or haven't seen a friend for a while. And I've noticed that the scenery in this dimension, there's a particular energy imprint and pattern that matches up. So it's the same dimension. And it's a little bit like Earth in the way that there's a lot of different places and sceneries that you can go to and experience. However, we have more magic abilities there. It comes out in different ways, and it's beautiful, really. So I'm so grateful to have the knowledge and the awareness, and to have honed my abilities to be at this place right now, because if I wasn't, it would be harder, I feel. There's a beautiful bird that just landed above me. So I'm really missing my dad and my grandfather and our dog. I also really miss 3 beautiful men that I was really lucky and honored to be part of their lives, who were family friends that passed away as well. And I feel their love and their support quite often, and I'm so blessed for that. And while I know that there's all these beautiful silver linings and beautiful gifts that come from pain, it's still really honoring to myself and others to acknowledge that how I feel, and that I can't hug them, and it hurts, and it's okay, and that it is okay to feel how I feel in each moment. And sometimes it happens so randomly. I might just be driving up the mountain as I was, and a whole bunch of bikes come by, and I think about Dad, and I think about Michael Jordan, because they both rode motorbikes. And I'm talking on my voice recording, doing my audio diary, and I am overcome with all these past memories and visions, and I've just learned to sit with them, to acknowledge them, to the point where, I mean, sometimes it's super intense. Of course, life ebbs and flows, and everything ultimately is a blessing. I've learnt that feeling the lower vibrational feelings is not a bad thing, and it shouldn't be shamed or judged. It should be acknowledged. Because the more we are aware of and sit with those feelings, the less they sit in our body, the less they create disease and chaos and disorder in our body, in our lives, in our connections with others. And we make the choice to utilize it to the best of our ability. Me thinking about the impermanence of life so much lately, and has really affected me, or enhanced my life in ways. So when I'm with friends, I'm doing my best to be even more present and focused and the best human that I can be for myself, and to really enjoy and make the most of the connection that we have together. And when I'm with my lovers, I am doing my best to make the most of every moment, to have another kiss, to squeeze in another hug, to give them the space that they need, to support each other, to be there, to be present, to love, to dissolve and continue dissolving the limiting patterns that I've created in my life every day, in every moment, in every breath, so that I can live my life to the fullest. Because there's nothing like death to show us how we can improve our lives and how we can add more joy, add more love, add more magic, and sprinkle that goodness everywhere to radiate and ripple it throughout the entire cosmos. Because without the darkness, without our shadow, without death, without sadness and depression, we wouldn't be able, or I wouldn't be able to, truly appreciate life and joy and see the blessings in all of that. Regardless of my headspace, regardless of what consciousness I'm in. And fully have integrated that so much that I actually really feel it in my whole being, and in every aspect of my life. It is truly such a gift. And to have created this beautiful essence, this beautiful spray that assists with all the things that I've been saying. It assists with clearing ancestral patterns. It assists with dissolving how we get in our own way, creating more grace and ease with our lives. It assists us with focusing on what we truly, truly, truly desire and manifesting that with the greatest ease possible. How does it work? It's magic. It's pure magic, and it's pure love. Not just that, but I have demonstrated time and time again how I've dedicated and devoted myself to personal development and to my own magical practices, to honing my psychic abilities for the last 19 years to create a product that does this for me, for you, with me, works and plays and rests with you, for you, and really assists you to make the most of life. If you want to. When I first made this, I called it Wishes in a Bottle. I feel like there are, you know how, Aladdin says, Genie says to Aladdin, you have 3 wishes. I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. And those things are obvious that we also can't do them in this reality. You can't make someone fall in love with you. And you wouldn't want to, even if you could, because you're not doing yourself or them any justice. And people say, when we blow out our candle, when it's our birthday, that you have one wish. But there are so many other ways to make a wish and to receive a wish, and that we actually have infinite wishes. So that was what inspired me for this. And I feel that the more I have tuned into my past lives, the more I have received the gifts and strengthened those in this reality too. And I feel like there's a, in that quantum space of no time, or where everything is in that one moment, that one breath, the inhale, the exhale, our vortex that we've created, that Abraham says, which I won't go into, but if you want to research it, highly recommend looking into Abraham. In this lifetime, we are uniting our past, our present, and our future together. We can access that in any moment, in any time we choose. Time, there it is again. To reevaluate and to recalibrate ourselves into the trajectory that we wish to be on, our highest timeline. It's really nice to be doing a video again, especially at such a beautiful place. So life is busy, and we make the choice of how we navigate through that in each moment, just by being present. And sometimes we do need a little bit more structure and routine in our lives, and that's okay too. At least I've learned over time that when I'm in alignment with the universal shifts, or when I'm really being true to myself, I'm in alignment with divine timing and the universal shifts anyway. That is the moon phases, astrology, my own divine timing in my life, and how many times recently even I've been told, perfect timing, divine timing, just in time. And I love that so much. When we are being true to ourselves, we're being true to each other, and we don't have to be perfect all the time. All we need, and we, even just the fact of that existing, thinking that something is bad and wrong. Like, yeah, there are, especially when it comes to the extremes of life. However, we decide by the stories we tell ourselves if we are actually living true to ourselves or not. And everybody has different versions of what that looks and feels like. So where I'm at at the moment is I ended up stopping my business earlier this year, my soul alchemy business, And that was very much needed. That was also in alignment with Pluto retrograde. And actually, I believe Pluto goes direct sometime this week, or even, I want to say today, but I'm not quite sure. And I feel like I've come full cycle with that. And from going through this metaphorical death, this physical death in my business, and even the death of certain aspects of me that I identified with that no longer needed to be here anymore, have all dissolved. And what I am left with is the pure, authentic, solid foundation of my business that I'm really glad I didn't give up on, and that I chose to surrender and follow the signs. I love that the wind just started blowing. And so I'm doing psychic, oracle, shaman, witchy, mermaidy readings and clearings. And even the way that I do them has shifted to a point that is just so effortless that I didn't know existed. However, I felt this magnetic pull, and I kept trusting and believing and having faith in myself and the universe to get there, and I have. And of course, there'll be many more evolutions of myself, and probably my business too. Well, definitely my business too. So it's all wonderful, it's all perfect, and everything that comes up is happening for us. When we make the choice to go from victim consciousness into wealth consciousness, we realize that we're exactly where we are meant to be, and that everything is unfurling exactly as it should be. I have been landing, and I've been hesitant to say landed, the job of my dreams that I have been desiring, my heart has been desiring, and I've been dedicated to honing my skills and enhancing them for 19 years now. And it's all happening. Every aspect of my life feels really harmonious, and while I can feel that there's more dips and more emotions to sit with and everything like that, I still feel, oh, there's a bee. I'm not a flower bee, I just smell like one. I still feel that everything is okay, and that everything will be okay. I have chosen to stop fear-mongering as much as I can, and to be unaffected by others' opinions, expectations, realities of me, and to really trust myself. And yeah, it feels really good. I feel the most whole and fulfilled that I have felt in my entire life. And it is mostly because I have chosen. Every step of the way, I've made that choice. I've also chosen to receive love and wisdom and strength and courage and integrity, and be in integrity as much as possible from others and with others, because we are all significant parts of the solar system, of the universe. We are all stars. In fact, we are made up of mostly stardust, and that is a scientific fact. So it's amazing looking back at my life and being like, I can see exactly why this needed to happen and why I needed to think that way about it, and why this and why that, and how this and what that led to. And it's really refreshing to have that perspective. I have unpublished books. I'm very close to finishing my soul journal, which is really exciting. And I just love how it's just effortlessly coming together. I've been receiving a lot more downloads about it. And truth be told, I feel like I've written this book a few times now in the last 7-8 years. So I'm really excited. I've been birthing this for ages and it feels really good. And I used to think that the destination was everything, and I would stop myself from receiving so much joy along the way, and really just allowing the experience to be. And now I can see that, well, it was all worth it for sure, and how everything has shaped me into being who I am today and who I choose to be in each moment. So